Hello Airsoft friends, and welcome to this video today where we are continuing our path to getting ready for getting back into the field because Airsoft is going to be officially happening again in like 2 weeks time yesterday, and that's very, very exciting times. I can tell you I'm very excited about that. And as you may know or may not know, I recently received the SSX303. I've now put a suppressor on the end of it, a little stubby one that I had from a different build that I wasn't using, and you know what, it looks okay, but it doesn't suppress it as much as I would like to. So I am still trying to get my hands on the big old fat boy Novrich suppressor before we go into the games. But until then, this one will suffice. Dan, if you're watching, hook a brother up. I love you. But one thing which has crossed my mind, which I spoke a little bit about on the live stream that we did on last Sunday, is that I'm not too sure what my magazine situation is. People do ask me every now and again what mags I'd recommend for a Mark 23. As you know, there's lots of brands out there. ASG, STTI, TM, and of course Novrich. Novrich magazines are out there too. And there is people asking or saying that, you know, a lot of the magazines are the same, particularly between like ASG, STTI, and potentially Novrich mags too. I don't know if that is the case, but what I do know is that I own ASG, TM, and Novrich mags, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them all through the SSX303 in its current configuration, and I'm going to see which one is most powerful, which one is most consistent, and then hopefully from that I can then make an educated guess or educated decision to say that I want to fill my belt up with this brand of magazine. Because in my head I feel like different brands of magazines are going to perform differently. You know, like magazines are simple things. If I get one of the magazines up here, they're pretty simple. They've got a fill valve on the bottom, which is where you put your gas in. They've got a chamber where the gas is held until you want to use it. You've got your BB storage on the front, just like so. You've got your valvey thing here, which the hammer of the gun hits, which releases some gas through the top here. Your BBs feed into the gun, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all the magazine does. But there are things which can cause difference in performance. For example, you've got this rubber bit here, which is the seal of the magazine, and that seals between the magazine and the valve on the riff itself. And if that seal isn't good, then you're going to be losing out gas, and you're going to be losing on power. You've also got this back bit here, this valve here. The size of the valve could be different, the spring on the valve could be different, and all of those could be contributing factors to making some of these bags better, worse, more powerful, less powerful, more consistent, less consistent than the other ones. So today what I'm going to do, I've got my 3 mags here. I've got my TM here. That's a Novrich mag. And then this is an ASG one. They've all got my Project Airsoft upgrade followers in. Like you can see there, there's the upgrade follower in there. And that kind of gives you an extra 3 to 6 BBs per magazine. So if you want to get some of those, check out Project Airsoft. There's a link in the description to these upgrade followers, which are, yeah, pretty dandy things. And they're compatible across all Mark 23 magazines, which is great. Seriously, they're absolutely insane. Like if you're running like 5 or 6 mags and you've got one of those followers in every single mag, then it's like you've got an extra mag on you for free, which, yeah, really, really good time. Anyway, for this test, all of the shots are going to go through the SSX303, and I know that you're going to say that there is a lot of other contributing factors that could affect how these mags are going to perform, and what I'm to say is that I'm not interested in any of those other factors. Literally, the only thing that I'm trying to count down and zero in on is put the different mags in, shoot the mags, and then see how much, if any, the power fluctuates between each of the magazines, and also see what the highest, lowest, and the average FPS for each magazine is. Now, I know that this could be done more scientifically, and it's probably better for me to have, you know, instead of just testing one of each brand of magazine, get 5, take an average of those magazines, and also see between those magazines if there's a wide variation. But I don't have that many magazines because I don't have the money to buy all of those magazines. So that's something which I know we're not going to be as scientific as we can do, but we're being as scientific as I can be. And yeah, let's just kind of get into it. So in terms of the test, I've already said we're going to be shooting using the SSX303. We're using my Ace-Tech AC5000 chronograph. So I will be having that set up for 0.2 gram BBs. We're using the ASG Devil 0.2 gram BBs there. And we're using Nuprol 2.0 green gas because it's, you know, it's the most common kind of gas out there, really. So yeah, with all that being said and done, we are pretty much ready to start shooting our mags and getting our results. I'm going to shoot 10 BBs from each mag. Each mag is already fully gassed up, and then at the end of the video, I'll be giving you a full review on which mag I would recommend from the powers and the results. So let's get shooty, although it's going to be quite boring for you to watch. So I'll see you at the end. As a side note, I did want to do the exact same test with my TM Mark 23, but for some reason, it's just not feeding BBs right. It's like every other BB for some reason. So I don't know what's going on with that. I need to take it apart and have a little look of it. But I'm sad because, yeah, games are like 2 weeks away and this is not working. So I need to sort it out. And here we are with all of the results. So, as you can see, we've got the TM mag here, the ASG mag here, and then the Novridge here. Now, I've got all of the results of the FPS from each one, so every single shot, so shot 1 through 15. The ASG does have a unique aspect to it because I've grayed out this one and this one. The reason why I've grayed those out is because they were anomalies. Everything about they were just completely different to all of the other kind of like shots on there, but I thought it was important to still include them. But that's why they're grayed out and why they also haven't been included in the averages. So looking across 15 shots from each of these magazines, we can see the average for the TM was 373 FPS, the average for the ASG was 375, and the average for the Novridge was 380. From that, it's quite easy to see that the Novridge magazine is outputting the most power in average across all of them, which means that, you know, if you want the magazine with the greatest power, then the Novridge one is the best one for you to get. Granted, the difference isn't by much, you know, it's only, what, a 7 FPS difference across the board, but in terms of if you want the most powerful one, then the Novridge in this result is the one for you to go for. I then also did the most common, so this is the most common FPS across all the magazines to see if there was some kind of, you know, anything that seemed to make sense there. And with the TM magazine, 347 was the most common FPS, and there was 2 BBs that hit that. In the ASG, we had 364 and 374, and there was 2 BBs. And in the Novridge magazine, it was 388, and there were 4 BBs that actually came out at that FPS. So with that being said, the Novridge is also the most consistent in terms of how many BBs you're going to get, hopefully coming out at the same FPS. We can also look at the highest performing and the lowest performing BB in terms of power that came out from the mags. And in the TM, the 347 FPS was the lowest and 403 was the highest. In ASG, 364 was the lowest and 399/550, and I guess you could say 896, but something weird must have gone on with the chrono for those results. So let's say 399 is the highest. And in the Novridge one, we did have quite a large disparity as well. 309 on the lowest BB and 392. But looking at the results, you can see that it was 309 was the lowest, there was 345, and then pretty much everything else is super consistent in being in the 390 or 380 area. I've also quickly just gone through and I've written down how many BBs were in the 380s and also how many BBs were in the 390s. In the TM, you had 3 BBs that were in the 380 FPS range, and you had 2 in the 390 range. With the ASG, there was 2 in the 380 and 1 in the 390. Most of the ASG, you can see, were in the 370 FPS range. And with the Novridge, there was 7 in the 380s and 6 in the 390s. So that's what, 13 out of 15 shots with the Novridge were within 20 FPS of each other, which compared to the other mags is just, yeah, a huge amount more consistency, which is, you know, good to see. Now, I have written down some key notes from each magazine too, because there were some things that happened which, you know, weren't just, you know, I put the magazine shot and then everything, you know, went okay. With the TM magazine, it stopped feeding after every BB, and I don't know why that's the case, why that's happening. It was perfectly kind of fine before. So I did have to reset the magazine after every shot, but when I did reset the magazine, every shot was perfectly fine after that, and then I'd have to reset it again. So that was a bit of a pain. Also with TM magazines, they are difficult to repair. I'll get one here to show you why. So on TM magazines, you can see on this side here, you've got 3 pins. There's 1 pin, that pin, and then a pin over there. And this little middle pin is an absolute pain. You have to essentially drill it out if you want to take the magazine apart, and it's just, yeah, faff. With the ASG magazines, because I've got more experience with them, I found that they work better, they last longer in terms of teching, and they've only got 2 pins on the side here. So if you want to take your magazine apart to do some maintenance, knock that pin out, and then you're good to go. However, looking at the Novritsch magazine, it is built the same as the ASG mag. There is only 2 pins at the side, 2 there and 2 there, which you can see. So in terms of actually getting inside the mag, I would imagine it's quite a lot easier, or pretty much exactly the same as the ASG mag, which puts it onto a winner for me. So yeah, tech-wise, go for either the ASG or the Novritsch magazines. Then the notes for the ASG mag, it stopped feeding after 10 BBs for some reason. I don't know why. However, after I reset the magazine, everything was perfectly fine. And yeah, we were pretty much good to go for the rest of the test. And then on the Novritsch magazine, it double fed on the second shot. But apart from that, everything else went perfectly fine. So yeah, I was overall very happy with that result, and I didn't really have to worry about anything else with it. So with all of that being said, I feel like for me there's a clear winner, you know? Like, I started off using ASG magazines because I got the ASG Mark 23 first of all. I then moved over to the TM magazine, and then I bought a load of TM mags for it because I was like, these must be best. But then I quickly found out that all my TM mags were breaking and my ASG mags were working perfectly fine. And even though you can get more BBs in the TM magazines, I would rather have a magazine that worked better for longer and was more reliable, rather than having one which was more likely to break, but, you know, it had more BBs in. You know, I'd rather have something that works, which is why after spending money, or wasting money on TM magazines, I then went back, and every magazine I bought since then has been an ASG. Now though, however, looking at these results, I wasn't expecting this. I didn't know what to think, to be honest with you, because I've been using ASG mags for so long. I just figured that they would be best. But you can see that from the Novritsch ones, they just seem to be best across the board. You've got the highest average FPS across them all. You've got the most common FPS results coming through at 388, coming up 4 times. And then you had most of the BBs coming in within the 380 and 390, which is just, you know, super uncommon for the other magazines. So yeah, in total, I feel like it's very clear that the Novritsch magazines just really are the best place to go. One of the contributing factors to the Novritsch magazines being better could be that on the top there. You can see there's a different color, and this is essentially what makes the gas seal between the magazine and the riff itself. So maybe this being a different type of rubber, you can see on the TM and the ASG, they pretty much seem to have the same black version there. And when I touch the material, oh, they actually feel quite different. The TM is a lot harder, whereas the ASG is softer. But when I look at the ASG and the Novritsch one, they do seem to be made out of a different material. I think the Novritsch one is actually slightly firmer than the ASG one that's in there. So maybe that could be the reason why the Novritsch version is better. Interesting. I imagine that there probably are upgrade parts out there which you can get in order to modify the experience and modify the performance of the magazine. However, you know me, I like things just to work well out of the box, and I don't want to have to spend time, generally speaking, working out what upgrades and aftermarket parts I need to get in order to make the thing work as, you know, I feel like it should work out of the box. So with all of that being said and done, I feel like the position I'm in now is I want to change all of my both Mark 23 and SSX303 mags, because they all run the exact same mag, to Novritsch magazines, because, you know, the test is very, very clear. They're the most consistent, they produce the highest power, and in terms of, you know, notes, it's no real issue there at all. Granted, it did double feed on that second shot, but I'd rather have the gun double feed rather than stop feeding, because, you know, if you shoot 2 BBs out of your gun, you're gonna get the hit. If you shoot and nothing comes out, then, you know, that's not good. So yeah, all in all, I think the writing's on the wall. And that's it for this video. So thank you all very much for watching. I appreciate you spending some time with me today. Huge shout out to all of my wonderful Patreons for supporting the channel month on month. You guys are beautiful. I thank you very much. And yeah, thank you so much for your continued support. I really, really appreciate it. Also, big shout out to the StayFreshShoe Airsoft Discord community. You guys are rocking it. So many people joining all the time. And yeah, it's just a very helpful, friendly, you know, super positive part of the Airsoft community. And yeah, I thank you all for being a part of that. We're building something really, really great. And yeah, it's awesome to see so many of you a part of that. I want to say another shout out to Novritsch as well for providing me with the SSX303, as without that, I wouldn't have been able to make this video, because my TM Mark 23 isn't working, and I'm very sad about that. So we're going to have to see what we can do there. Maybe I could get an SSX23, maybe. Dan? Another polite request, Dan? Oh God, they're going to hate me, aren't they? It was a mistake sending me anything. I know that's what they're thinking. And again, I just want to do another shout out to Project Airsoft as well. Check out the website. And yeah, if you do want to get any of these upgrade followers that give you extra BBs per mag, please do. They're amazing. They'll change your life. There's also an upgrade bundle on the website for Mark 23, which include a magazine loader, which is what I use to load my magazines. See that? You see the follower, you put that on, and boom, it holds the follower down. So now you can easily load your magazines with BBs. Isn't that cool? And also included in that bundle is the Mark 23 tool. So you essentially screw it in where the LAM unit goes like that. You unscrew it when you need to use it, and then boom, it's a little Allen key, and then you can adjust your hop on your Hadrian Designs TDC or your Noveridge SSX TDC as well. Boom, like that. And then when you're done with it, just pop it back into the front hole, and then boom, it's stored on there for future use. So yeah, with all that being said and done, thank you again all for watching. Remember to call your hits, and I'll see you in the next one.